Lonely old man in an old shabby jacket and a cap with an inscription from the USSR stood on the corner of the house, holding with one hand around his corner and with the other hand squeezing the bag, network, in which lay a pack of milk and half a loaf of bread. Old man looked at the sky, in which a huge airliner flew high above him, leaving behind a white stripe. "Grandfather, you feel bad?" heard Gabriel baby voice next to you. Old man turned his head and saw a boy of years of family, who looked at him with a serious expression and nervously fiddled with the edge of his jacket. Gabriel smiled at him and lightly ruffled his hair, which scattered from light gusts of spring wind. "No, cute, everything is fine, just looking at the plane," answered the little boy with a smile, who was surprised to find that the old man has no front teeth. More precisely they were, but only 2 or 3. 2 of them were definitely on top, and here is 1 or 2 below. Boy stared at the unusual toothless mouth for his perception. Such he saw only with his younger sister, who had just begun to crawl. After the boy raised his head up and saw the trace of the plane, which has already been dissolved in the atmospheric air. "You love planes," for some reason he asked his grandfather and again touched his jacket. "Once upon a time I loved," dreamily answered Gabriel. "I worked as an airplane." Boy bulging eyes more than ever. The old man's toothless mouth was no longer even so much attracted, how much was interesting information, which from his mouth was sore. "You aircraft driver?" the boy asked in surprise. Old man giggled, habitually covering his mouth with a wrinkled hand, and again could not resist and patted the boy by the hair. "No, I'm not a pilot. I once worked at the designer U.S. factory, engaged in the assembly of parts for aircraft." The boy raised his index finger up, pointing to a doe that had long disappeared above them. For these, the old man removed his hand, which was supported by the edge of the house, and shook his head. "No, what are you?" Such, and still there was no trace. 2154 heard about this. Boy shook his head. "Not, I Boeing I know. Airbus. I don't know of any with numbers." Old man nodded his head in agreement. A long time ago it was. What did he say to this young man, who was also interested, that once was a life's work? "Gabriel, Sarah's home." A female voice was heard from one of the balconies in the courtyard, and a boy waving goodbye ran towards your door. Gabriel looked after the boy with a smile, and then again touched the wall of his house with his hand. And he lived in this house for almost 60 years. Every brick, every crack, every layer of paint on it was familiar to him. Necessary same, how time has flown. How about the same airliner, which, already at cruising altitude, not all in the direction of any city, located thousands of kilometers from their yard? Slowly, trying not to sway and put pressure on my leg, whose knee hurt unbearably, Gabriel went to your doorstep. "Tomorrow, I'm going to the doctor again. Knee haunted for over a week, especially disturbing sleep at night. Old dream and so very sensitive, and then unbearable pain, from which neither ointment nor pills help." Gabriel went home and immediately sat down on a stool in the hallway. She stood there on purpose, so that he could rest after climbing to the 3rd floor. Earlier he ran to him in a matter of seconds, and now it takes about 10 minutes to climb several flights of stairs. Network with products he put on the floor, stretching the affected leg forward and rubbing the knee, who whined mercilessly, making you wince in pain. Towards Gabriel his old dog came out, a Labrador Peach, which the granddaughter gave the old man for his 70th birthday. "I just turned 10 years old." Enough a lot for a dog of his breed, but not so much by the standards of human life. Gabriel patted the dog behind the ear and said to him in a sad voice, "Already sorry, Peach, that not walking with you, no strength at all. In the evening Love and Vovna will take you." Peach, as if understanding the words of the owner, obediently went into the room. Gabriel took off his shoes, who have long been asking for the trash, took one of them in his hand and shook his head. Hole on the sole. This reminded its owner of his beggarly existence and the inability to even buy new necessary shoes. When husband died, Love, she politely offered the neighbor the things of her late husband. Eye cloth and shoes, everything was top quality and in perfect condition. But Gabriel refused. To him, there was some kind of blasphemy in this, and he was also afraid of attracting death to himself thanks to the things of the deceased. Then she offered to walk his dog. This proposal Gabriel accepted with gratitude, and now every evening his doorbell rang, and the old man was passing the leash with a bouncing impatience. A good neighbor. Sometimes she brought Gabriel soups, mashed potatoes with soft steam patties or baby meat purees, which, after leaving, her children left. Gabriel accepted with gratitude. To him it was awkward to take food, but he really wanted to eat tasty and without harm to his mouth, so buying soft meat, especially baby food, was not good for him. For breakfast, he used to make milk pieces of loaf, for lunch, cooked soup with chicken cube and vermicelli, and for dinner he drank kefir and cooked milk porridge, buckwheat, semolina, or rice. This is enough for the old man, not to die of hunger, keep my dog, pay utility bills, not enough for large pensions. Somehow once, even at the very beginning of their communication with the love of love, the woman asked Gabriel about if he has a family and children. That did not deceive a good woman, and honestly told that he left his first family for the sake of great and bright love, and the second wife died, giving birth to a dead daughter. So he was left alone. Children from their first marriage, brought up by an abandoned mother, did not seek to communicate with the father of the traitors, and he did not apply for their help. Alone spinning, twirled. After the plant retired, he worked as a janitor. I am working on it. I tried to mend a relationship with some nice woman, but she went to her daughter in Barcelona, and then there was no time for love, personal happiness. Love took pity on the old man and helped him, then she could do food, walk with the dog, the purchase is necessary for him, but very expensive drugs. Warm-up soup with vermicelli. Gabriel sat down on the bridge in the kitchen, looked at my dog. Once upon a time given to him by his granddaughter. This was the only gift from his relatives, who were still trying to mend their relationship with their father. For a few days before his 70th birthday, at the door, Gabriel called. He opened the door and saw an unfamiliar woman outside the threshold, who was holding the girl's hand. You to me, politely asked the old man, looking at strangers, but very pleasant. Yes, we are to you, and grandfather blurted out baby, took a step to the side. His apartment. Gabriel looked at the woman and understood that before him stood his own daughter, which he left 30 years ago, and which now stood before him, holding the hand of his granddaughter. Chloe looked a lot like her mother. What's the same? Come through. Gabriel stepped aside, letting your house in, daughter, whom I have not seen for 30 years, and my granddaughter, that you have never seen before. Chloe did not stand between the rings for a long time and immediately told her father, Mother died 40 days ago. I think, what do you need to know about it, Gabriel? I will sing with sadness, remembering his first wife, and then his unbearable desire to return to her after the death of his second wife. But all his attempts were cut off in the bud. Proud the woman did not forgive her ex-husband, and even the fact that he was left a widower and lost a child had no effect on his decision. To me sorry, answered quietly Gabriel, remembering his first wife. How were his children born, which he rejoiced even after parting? But he clearly understood what, making a choice in favor of another family, in the former, he does not become a family again, they do not enter the same river twice. It's a pity you, to her, how, Chloe quipped. If it would be a pity, would you even come to the funeral? So I didn't know, taken aback Gabriel, and saw on the face of the daughter of cruelty confidence only in his practice. Is it true, father was not interested? You came, to accuse me of something, the old man asked, looking into the daughter's determined and hateful face. You, sorry, already punished me for life. Only no need to complain about fate, which you chose, shrugged it off Chloe and looked at her daughter, who listened attentively to their conversation. Then why are you here, if not for this? Asked Gabriel, unwilling to listen to bad words of their address, the presence of a little girl, who he loved with all his heart, as soon as I saw on the threshold of my house. I want, so that you bequeath your apartment to me. Mother left behind a will. She bequeathed the living space to her brother Beale, and I stayed on the beans. Beale lives like cheese in butter, and I have 2 daughters, 1 year, 7, 2 is finishing school, I have a mortgage, and my husband left a year ago. Your essence cannot be changed. Face Chloe grimaced at the mention of all masculine gender. I can't do it, answered coldly Gabriel. Face Chloe engorged. Why, this is what you will do, like the last leave homeless grandchildren, unable to live separately. Gabriel trunk. It's unpleasant to listen to this empty talk, to which he was not ready, and felt a sense of dislike for his own child. Really, in this girl, whose name he does not yet know, mother will instill the same consumer attitude towards everything. Really, she will not teach her daughter to forgive other people's mistakes. I risk losing happiness, making their own mistakes in life. I don't want you to wait for my death. She's a lovely girl too. You are my daughter according to the document. Here, die by the law, everything will go to you. Beale your son too, he also deserves, Chloe insisted, dissatisfied with the decision of the father. Means, there will be a court, on which you will prove that you have more rights. And, I will not write a will, you forgive me. The woman abruptly got up from the depressed sofa and grabbed the girl's hand. Went, Mashal, grandfather refused us. Grandfather good, the girl said softly, but her mother pulled her sharply by the hand and pulled her towards the exit. Sweets at least take, tried to be hospitable, after said Gabriel. Let's get by, Chloe answered sharply, slammed the door shut behind her. On the day of his 70th birthday, when his few friends gathered in his small apartment as a neighbor, loved lovingly with her husband to a couple of students from a technical school, the doorbell rang again. Gabriel, I saw a car standing outside the door with a puppy in its hands, just stunned. Grandpa takes it faster, he is heavy, holding out a puppy, squealed the granddaughter. Gabriel took a warm fluffy ball from her hands and waved his head, come in, drink a check with a cake. Girl shook her head. Mother waiting downstairs. This is a gift from me to you. His peach name is. Happy birthday to you. Girl ran down, Gabriel for a long time, squeezing a soft warm lump in his hands, inhaling his scent, and the tears from his eyes dripped onto the curly coat of the dog and immediately imbibed with her. Gabriel never received such a dear heart gift. So many years later. The dog was quite big, a night he never saw. Granddaughter went somewhere far away. But one day everything changed. Waking up in the morning, he saw that his dog was dead. She died in my sleep. Last time she suffered a lot, often missing her favorite walks. To her, it was hard to get out of bed. This was a huge blow to the man, after all Peach was his best friend. Rest in peace, my favorite dog, I will always remember you, said the old man, who buried the dog. In the evening a neighbor came to him, but found a sad old man, who sat in the kitchen without light. What happened? Peach died. Whoa, something which? My only friend and protector died. Maybe, I have to go. Meaning live now, no longer need to say so. Do you still live and live? Neighbor tried to calm down Gabriel. She understood that he is going through a great loss. Since then, the life of a lonely old man has lost all colors. He constantly forged on a peach, often remembering how they used to walk. At all it didn't matter, what's the weather outside. Dog loved to walk, and the man obediently wore her leash. It seemed that he doesn't walk the dogs, she is with him. Was what to remember and a beloved friend. One day in the door Gabriel called. He opened the door and was very surprised. On the threshold of the house was his daughter Chloe. Chloe, it's you. How do you see me? Need to talk. She quickly entered the apartment. Something had happened, so you never came to me. It happened. Male sick, need money. How to get sick? What with her disease, I said, serious illness. Need to so much money. What, you didn't say anything before? You not interested? Let's sell my apartment, when money is needed, it would be nice. You have lived us with pleasure. Man, I didn't understand it myself, how did he quickly agree to such a scam? He did not learn anything from his granddaughter, but was ready to trust his daughter, who came not so long ago and asked to rent an apartment for her. I will leave you. Number cards, house sales. Here, put the money. Here, my address and number. I then contact the agency, maybe it will go faster. Let's hope. Midges needs surgery. God, why Sedona? The old man started. Chloe entered, as always loudly slamming the door, and the old man sat down and cried. To him I felt very sorry for my granddaughter. Certainly, he didn't want to leave his apartment because he spent his whole life, but for the sake of his granddaughter he was ready for anything. In the morning, the realtor came to evaluate the apartment and take a couple of photos. You indicate there that the furniture is also for sale. This you sell yourself. To me need an empty apartment, and you have everything pledged here. I understood you, said the man. He contacted a neighbor to help sell the furniture. As this day at Gabriel, different people began to appear who came to see the furniture. Somebody bought, and someone left poor. Later, a few weeks, the apartment was sold. Man deposited money into the specified account and called back his daughter and, I'm leaving for you with things. Already going out, remarked the old man. Let's, looking forward to, pretty daughter said. He went to the given address, what left? By hour he was near the big house. Door intercom was open, and he entered the entrance. Climbing up on the elevator, he called apartment 33. Door opened by an unknown woman. Kind day. You, to whom she asked. In daughters. She lives here. You are confusing something. I have been living here for 30 years and your daughter cannot be here. An old man grabbed the phone, started calling my daughter, but no one answered. Really, she deceived me. And wrote the number at random. She couldn't do that to me. This can't be. On tears in the old man's eyes. He went out into the street and went aimlessly. Man did not understand where he should go, because now he had no apartment, not money. Tears flowed like a river. It is summer outside now, but soon the cold will come. He sat down on a bench, began to think, why did his daughter do this to him? To him it was very embarrassing. Too, he got hooked by an old man who recently rummaged in a neighboring yard in a trash can. What? The old man was saddened. Yes, here comes misfortune. Old man told all his life, he needed to speak. Here, this story is not a daughter, and here's what I'll tell you, the man said sharply. What should I do now? Pension not at all soon, I just received it recently, sent the same. Went with me. You mean not very good conditions, but you can live. I live in that house during the day on the garbage, can I make my rounds? I'm going to find it. Do nothing, thought the old man. There was still no way out. He understood, what a month without a home, he won't last food. So he settled in one of the cellars. Not when a person, who worked all his life, couldn't imagine that someday will be a bum. But life is a strange thing, and now he has a black streak in life. Now he lived in the basement and ate waste. What did you find in the trash? He hated my life, I spoke rudely, waiting for the end. He no longer had a meaning in life. Certainly, he could start looking for Chloe or call the police, but he understood that she did the same to him as he used to be with them. One day he was sitting on a bench, breathing fresh air. His neighbor in the basement was very fond of alcohol and often had parties. The old man didn't like it, so he could often be found on a bench, and it didn't matter if it was day or night. A boy of about 10 approached the old man. Hello, what are you doing here so late? I lost, straight from the group. We are here for the tour, so you got lost yesterday. I went to see the monument, listened to him, then found no one. Do you know your parents' number? Not, I've been walking down the street since yesterday. Then let's call the police, they will help. Let's. Although first you need to eat and sleep, they hardly feed and let you sleep. Man handed the boy a piece of bread. Thank you, the boy smiled. They sat on a bench. Around it was dark. Boy was very talkative. I am from Moscow. My papa, businessman, and mom are at home. Well, there are different delicious dishes, understand, housewives. Here exactly. Why are you sitting here? I have nowhere to go. I had an apartment, but had to sell, to pay for my granddaughter's surgery. Certainly, I understand now that my daughter just deceived me. She was very angry. It turned out, you were deceived by your own daughter. Here it happens. I call the police, to find your parents, who will take you. You are a very good person, I've always dreamed of something like this. That your grandfather is not like that I don't have it at all. Somehow bad luck. The police arrived quickly and soon the boy was taken away. Gabriel and stayed looking at the sky. He observed how drunk people come out of the basement one by one. Here now you can go to sleep, muttered the men. Went to the basement. He slept very restless at night. He worried about the boy. Found his parents or not all is he good thought a very long time. And fell asleep in these thoughts. In the morning he went out into the street and noticed this boy on his bench. Only he sat there alone. Boy was with his father. Hello, what are you doing here, he said boy cheerfully. But finally you came. Cried the father. You were waiting for me. More how? You saved my child from hunger, although you saved yourself. You called the police, I thank you very much. How can I thank you? They said, thank you, yes, and that's enough. No, it's not good. I do not need anything, I already have my age, and so I will live. Why are you here? Grandfather will tell that story, what he told me yesterday. Please, boy, it just so happened that my daughter lied to me, I sold my apartment, so here it was. Such a good man shouldn't live on the street. Go with us, we will choose an apartment for you. You are crazy, I need anything, you can't just refuse, I have already decided everything. Man very insistent, and grandpa's had to agree. He reluctantly got into an expensive car, and they bought a small apartment for the child's savior. Old man just couldn't believe that yesterday he was on the street, and tonight we'll spend the night in the apartment. Tears just rolled out of my eyes. Father the child was very grateful, and everyone could not stop in their gratitude. He did not understand how else to thank the old man. Well, what do I now owe you until death. The old man started. You can't imagine how worried we were, Alex was not at home. How your daughter's name, who offended you? Yes, it doesn't matter. Old man didn't even want to say her name, he just tried to forget that he has children and grandchildren. She caused him great pain, and left an elderly man homeless. For they need care. She did so. Father Alex spoke for a long time, thanked grandfather, Gabriel listened to him and thought, what is this fairy tale? Yesterday he was homeless, and today a billionaire. Such only happens in fairy tales. Morning in the new apartment began with a call to a new phone. A long time ago he didn't sleep so well. Pub, it's me, Ira, what you still need I have nothing more, I want to return the money. Nothing, no need, keep it. I understand that I did very badly, but I had to pay the loan. But how did you pay? No, I could not, so go and pay. Where you have my new number a man came to me. All it's clear. Remove my number and don't call here ever again. I have another family now, and you forget about me. Gabriel hung up and exhaled. To him it was very unpleasant to talk to my daughter. Certainly, he no longer hoped that when you called him. To him it was very embarrassing that the daughter did not even explain all the situations, just wanted a refund. Man, nothing is needed now. Fine, that good people were found and helped. Certainly, their gratitude was very great, but no one let him down. Right, he had to accept a gift, no matter how he tried to refuse. Boy, I fell in love with my grandfather very much and came to him very often. Man was very grateful for the action of his grandfather and constantly thanked him. Grandfather, I could never even imagine that for such a human act he will be grateful for so long. Chloe returned the money. She translated them about grandfather, she never came to apologize. How it turned out, Naya didn't even know that mom did so meanly to grandfather. One day she came to her grandfather's old apartment and found out that he doesn't live here anymore. Fine, that the neighbor had his new address. They still got along well. She and I came to my grandfather and were completely shocked by what I heard. Grandfather, I am very angry. As it turned out, she has been living in Moscow and mom does not communicate. Mother and she were once deceived. She is not at the hotel, so that my daughter can contact a guy, who is now her husband. Chloe said that I saw him with another. Then she believed, but decided to check, and it all turned out to be a lie. Since then they have not seen each other. Granddaughter was in complete shock. What are people willing to do for big money? To her it was scary and very embarrassing. It's all done by a man, whom she called mother all her life. Chloe, I could not forgive my daughter's betrayal, because she chose that guy and left with him, leaving mom alone. She chose love, the boring life of prohibitions that mother constantly came up with, because she always wanted another son-in-law, and my daughter disobeyed. Now Naya is a frequent visitor to Gabriel's house, frequent and very desirable. The money, which Chloe returned, he gave his granddaughters, so they can buy a home. Alex bequeathed a new apartment, whom I once met on a bench in complete darkness. He not the hotel, but the apartment, which got him, so easily passed on to his children. Fair was to leave it to that, thanks to whom she appeared. It was the right decision. Naturally, his kids didn't get it, and especially Chloe, who until the end of days, Gabriel I hoped